Hi, Chad, your Friendly Balsa USA Builder here. I'm going to go do another video on some cheap and quick and easy scale detail that you can add. This one is going to be running pole cables to a lot of the World War I airplanes on the elevators when they come out the side of the airplane. So I'll show how I set that up, a few tricks that I can do to make that so that it's easier, so that it doesn't look so gaudy standing out, I guess you could say. So first thing to do is to get yourself a good set of 3 views so you can see where it comes out. I'll switch my camera around and we will take a look at the 3 views I have. Alright, so here you can see my 3 views. Now you can see right here is where they come out of the fuselage and they run up to the elevators. And then I'll scroll down. We'll get you can see on here, they run out. And now I already set up my control horns and my elevators for this. What I'm going to show you is how to set up on the fuselage in this area here, how to set that up so that it looks nice. We'll go back up to the side view. Right here you can see where they come out of the fuselage. So I'll show how I do that, make it so that you get them coming out nice. So let's go over to the airplane and see what I'm doing. Alright, so here you can see I have the elevator on the stab tape down in place on the fuselage here. And that's going to set up so that I know the angles I have to run from the elevator down to my block here. And I got the rough location of the block based off of the 3 views. And I'll show you how I got the other one to make sure. You don't want to 100% go straight off of your 3 views, as the stab, elevator, your control linkage, stuff like that may be different. And on the Newport 17, the pole cable actually ran through the elevator to make it so that it could go at the proper angle. So I put a block in my stabilizer here, and that'll allow me to cut where I need to cut the groove for the wire to go through. But first what you have to do is figure out how or where on the fuselage you want it. So I did it real simply. I put my straight edge going from where the control horn's going, run it through my elevator at roughly the right spot, and then you can see if I extend this out, it's going to run right into my block there. That's another way I made sure that my block was in the proper location on the fuselage. Then I did that from the side also, running from where it should be, coming down, rough area where it's going to be at. So now let's talk about the block I put in the fuselage. The stringers are 5/16 thick and the uprights are 5/16 thick. You don't want this whole block to be stuck to your covering, because then you're going to see this whole outline. So what I do is I'll use a 1/4 inch thick piece of sheeting and I'll glue that in place, and as you can see I have it offset the 16th, so it fits flush on the back side here. And what that does is it doesn't allow this block to be shown, but it gives me a nice sturdy piece to come out with my pole wires. It's still attached to the stringer and the uprights. And then what I'll do is I'll just where the push rods or the pole cables come out, I'll add a 1/16 inch thick circle around where they come out. So just that little 1/16 inch bit is going to show on the covering, which keeps it real nice, real clean. The real ones, they just came out through the fabric. They didn't have a mount behind, and that then they used a piece of leather to go around to help protect the fabric, whereas I'm doing it this way so that way I can direct my cables a little better. After I get that on, I just use a piece of 1/16 inch sheeting and I'll put it on the back side to help strengthen it, because right now it has a little bit of flex. You don't want that flex, you want it to be stout. I don't want to have to worry about it breaking off. So once I get some more done on it, I'll take another video and show you what I'm doing, alright? Alright, so you can see I have my holes drilled for my wires to come out. And what this is this is just the nylon or it's the sleeve for the cable for solvent, stuff like that. What that does is it gives me something to guide the wire on the inside of the plane, so I can direct it wherever I want. For the servo location, wires don't have to be the same length on this type of a setup. The key is that you have on the control horn, you have the same distance on the control horn from center to center, and on the elevator from center to center. So anyways, you can see I marked my line. That's the center line of the airplane, because when I looked at my 3 views, the wires came out roughly in the center from top to bottom. And that line's not straight because the fuselage gets bigger, so it's going to taper down. But anyways, then what I started doing, as you can see a couple of my dots here, I would place a dot, and then I would take a piece of scrap wire that I have here, and I would just dry fit it to see how it looked going to where the control horn location was. And I kept doing that until I got one that looked as close to the 3 view as possible. And then I took my drill and I used a 6-inch drill bit. I use a 6-inch drill bit. I'll drill straight in, and as I'm spinning the drill, I'll slowly move it to the angle that I need the push rod tube to come out, for the pull wire, the pull tube, I guess, to come out. And that way, when my wire comes out, it's not going to, these will get pushed all the way in, obviously, and then they'll be cut flush with the covering. But the key that you're going for is when it comes out, your wire doesn't have to make a sharp bend to come out. Otherwise, it's going to start cutting through the wire, or through the push rod tube here, and it'll wear on the wire, stuff like that. So you want it to come out as straight as possible to directly where it has to go. So now I'll continue on. I'll get the 16th balsa on here, like I said, and after I get that done, I will take another video, show you what I did there. Alright? Alrighty, so I have the 16th inch spacers on there now. Now this will come out and my covering will attach to this. That's what's going to seal it up around where the wire comes out so that it stays looking nice. I do them round because round seems to be less noticeable than a straight line. And then what I also do, you can't see it too well, but I soften the edge real lightly, because a sharp edge will show up with covering a lot more than a soft edge will, or a chamfered edge, slight round. And that's just because you're going to see the line won't be as sharp. Like here you see every former when you put the covering on, stuff like that. It just helps hide it because you don't really want this to be noticeable, but you still do want to keep them neat, because you will notice it a little bit and it'll look awful if it's just a hack job put in there. So still take your time, make it look neat. And then what you do, you glue them on, and I take my drill bit, I pull that out of my drill, and I just come in from the back side here. Alright, and I drill back through as needed, just by hand. Take your time doing this, you don't want to screw it up. And then what that does is, let me grab a push rod tube here. Bear with me. Alright, so I got my push rod tube, and that when I slide that in, what'll happen is this, once it's all glued in place, I'll cut it flush and sand it flush with the top of this. So all it's going to leave is a little hole exiting out, just like you would do in the tail if you were using a pull push rod, or a push pull push rod, a regular solid push rod. You're trying to achieve the same thing here as what you're going for, except the wire is going to be coming out. So now I'll get all that installed. I'll get the servos installed in the fuselage. I'll show you how I run this. I'll get all that ready. I'll take another quick video and explain it to you. Alright, so I'm back now. I have my servos installed. Made a nice little tray, set them up. The neater you put your install, the easier it is for everything. You can see I have my push rod tubes put in. They line up straight with the control horns. And that's going to be where the cables come through and hook up to the servos. You want to leave a little gap there just because as your servo moves, it's going to move your wire in and out. So you want to have a little place so you don't overstress where it exits out of the tube there. And then you can see them run through the fuselage. I have the two elevators on both sides, one for the top, one for the bottom. And then I also did the rudders because the rudders are pull. And you can see it's the same thing there. So I got all those in, and you notice they're real floppy. What I do next is I'll attach the tubes to the frame, and I'll just make some mounts that go across the fuselage to do that. I'll show that next. I do that before I glue anything in, just because you may need to pull the tube out and slide it through the mount as you do it. So I'll get that done, and I will take another video. Alright, so you can see I have my mounts made. So now all the push rods are nice and stable in there. The push rod tubes are nice and stable in there. I got them glued in. You can see coming out, I make sure I glue. You want to fill in all you can on the, let's see if I can get it to see, there you go. You want to fill in all you can back here. It'll just make it a lot stronger. I have this one. And then I cut them off with just a razor saw and sand them flush. Here you can see I have that done. I can get these one of these wires out of the way here. So it just looks like that when it's done. You'll cover and just that little hole will be there. Makes it real nice. And then I just use a standard 3/64 cable that we sell for our Nyco press system. Runs through these tubes perfectly. You can use a smaller 1/32 if you want, and that works fine. Here you can see the back one here. That just runs through the tubes. And it comes out. You can see where they come out. These two here are for my elevator. This is for the one rudder that I have done so far. And they'll just run straight back to the push rod, or to the servo. Both of them will run back. I'll put ends on them. Same way we do the flying wires with the brass coupler and the Dubro quick link. So I'm going to show you the setup now that I have my pull cables installed completely. I want to show you what the pull cables consist of, and that's our 1/32 wire, a brass coupler, a jam nut, and then just the Dubro quick link there. Here are the separate parts. Here's the little brass couplers, and those are available through us. If they're not on the website, you can give us a call and find them. And then we also have the Dubro quick links there. What this does is you thread this end onto the wire, or you solder that end onto the wire, and then you thread this end onto the quick link. You want to make sure you use a jam nut with it. So now that we have that all set up, you can see it working in here, and it just runs through the tubes. Alright, let me tip my plane. And here you can see where it comes out. That's where I had the yellow Nyrod tubes. Then you can see where it runs through the aileron, or the stabilizer. See underneath there. And then this end, all we do is use our Nyco press sleeves with a, I like to use the roll bar control horns when I do this, or you can use some G10 and make your own, whichever works. But that's it once it gets done, and you can see it looks a lot more scale than if I were to just do a solid push rod out there. Alright, so we're all done with the pole cables. It was real easy, as you can tell, to put them in a scale location. A little bit of work goes a long way. It'll make your model stand out quite a bit from the rest. It's a nice touch to be able to have a little scale detail that's functional at the same time. I hope you all learned something. I had fun showing y'all. If you have any more questions on videos, detail stuff you'd like to do, let me know. As I'm doing it on my own models, I'll take some videos and show you how to do it. Until then, happy building. Can't wait to see you all at the flying fields.